So welcome, folks. Um, yeah, it's good to be with you. Um, yeah, let's go go right into the silence. So maybe you begin by relaxing, or maybe you begin by um, becoming more sensitive to goodness, to the goodness of your intention, the goodness of the Sangha, what is good in each of us. Part of practice is becoming moved by goodness. And so maybe that's a good way to begin. Help us inhabit this moment more fully. Just settle in whatever way you settle in these first few minutes. Yesterday, I was meditating outside, and in the distance, someone was practicing bagpipes. And when you're meditating, bagpipes are very, very funny. And you may not have the benefit of bagpipes in your sound space. But there's something to hear. So maybe we'll explore outer sound and then inner sound. So first, just anchoring attention to the soundscape. The ambient noises of your space. Because we tend to subtly image the objects from which sound emerges, and we image those in a kind of location in the theater of our own minds. There's a sense of spaciousness. The openness of our mind. To just listening for sounds, we'll tend to focus on near sounds, the beginning of sounds, loud sounds, but here we honor sounds from the distance, sounds that are faint, sounds when they end in addition to when they begin. It's as if we allow the sounds to run through us uh, like a gust of wind that is not trapped inside of us. It just blows through. And our hope and our fear trap phenomena. Our grasping and aversion, what we like, dislike about this sound or that, traps the phenomena in the headquarters of self. We chew on it. But instead, in our practice, we practice letting sound run right through. In this awareness of the soundscape, we can also include our own verbal thinking. Usually we just call it thinking, and usually we don't hear it in the sense of knowing thinking as thinking. We don't hear the phenomena of verbal thought. We are just identified with it and obey. And so now the awareness feels almost as if it's poised, perched, listening for the arising of auditory thinking. And it's generally true that the awareness will disrupt auditory thinking. The presence of awareness means that we can't be fully identified with the content of our thought. But we listen as best we can for the words and sentences, for the chatter, for the embryonic auditory thoughts, the thoughts that seem to beg us to think them. And so now we're letting the attuning to the soundscape as it runs right through our own heads. in a way, we practice not treating thoughts as some special species of sound, but in the same category as the birds, the garbage truck, and the neighbors. Okay. Dharma, Dharma pleasure. In the summer before September 11th, 2001, remember reading a book that was, it was called, I think, Happiness, Death, and the Remainder of Life. And what I remember about it was the basic premise is that life is lived under conditions of too much, which captures something important. Too much energy in our system, and we need to discharge it. Too much coming at us. We're besieged by samsara, by this realm of existence. Too much I want to get done, too much I need to worry about, too much to let go of, too much. And it strikes me that maybe too much is a kind of synonym for dukkha. And this sense of too much necessitates, if we're to be happy, we need to find ways to turn down the dial on our nervous system. And it's overstimulation, the sense of too much. And the Dharma is a kind of dialectic between peace and what I spoke about yesterday, purification, between tranquility and letting the world rush into our heart, and without tranquility, the letting go, the purification, the opening to dukkha, all of it feels like too much. And you see how desperate we are to dial things down in some way, to turn down the nervous system and kind of seek out that cocoon of unconsciousness where we're not being stimulated in a way that creates the sense of too muchness. This kind of cocoon. And so we do a lot to kind of like create that cocoon of unconsciousness to insulate ourselves from the intensity. And I'm sympathetic to the impulse of doing all that we do to dial down the nervous system, but the Dharma celebrates a kind of tranquility that is alive rather than dissociated. It's not the peace or seclusion of the infinite scroll, but it's a kind of alive form of tranquility. And so part of the Dharma and part of Dharma pleasure is learning the ways that we come to rest. Ways we come to rest. Ways that our Dharma practice allows us to rest. And so we rest in a number of ways. We seek out spiritual friends with whom our heart can relax. We call that Sangha. It is soothing. It's soothing. We're so porous, and just to be around people trying to to live a life of wisdom and care. That's not trivial. That's not trivial. That allows us to begin to relax some of our vigilance. We're reassured by the lineage that so many have come before us, walk this path profitably, and there's a certain kind of soothing in knowing this. I remember on the first night of a retreat, Michelle McDonald was teaching, and she said something like, the first night of retreat, I think it was a 2-week or 10-day retreat or something. She said the first night of retreat is all about reassurance. Yeah. And then she repeated the word, and said something like, just that word, reassurance. Something in us longs for that, and you can kind of feel the room just let down a little. We learn practices, ways of directing our attention. Maybe we say meditating, but not just meditating, but we learn ways of attending that naturally brings soothing. And some of it is as simple as just attending to phenomena that bring calm, stability. One a sutta, when one's mind is possessed by restlessness, overpowered by restlessness, one cannot properly see the escape from restlessness. One does not properly understand one's own welfare, nor that of another. There's unrest of mind, frequently giving unwise attention to it. That is the nourishment for the arising of restlessness. Unwise attention to the sign of restlessness. So what aspects of experience, what signs are useful to attend to? What brings a sense of seclusion, protection, tranquility? And as this process unfolds and we do start to settle, and we can start to settle even when we're not, quote, concentrated. It's like, can start to sense like, oh yes, something in you is resting, even when there's a lot of discursive thinking. And then just to rest there is very healing, because life doesn't feel like too much in that rest. And we rest in a certain rest, maybe we say in the truth of the human condition. In a sense, because we've deeply contemplated anicca, impermanence, uncertainty. We've deeply contemplated dissolution and death. Change doesn't come as such a shock to the system. In a sense, maybe we say that we pre-grieve all of the inevitable losses of being human. Yeah. And that's different than fretting about it all. But we sort of pre-grieve. Leonard Cohen said, I don't consider myself a pessimist. I think of a pessimist as someone waiting for it to rain, and I feel soaked to the skin. It's said that that anxiety is the intolerance of uncertainty. Anxiety is the intolerance of uncertainty. But we're already soaked to the skin. Yeah. There's no uncertainty. There's a famous parable that Jack Kornfield recounted, and his encounter with Ajahn Chah, holding up, holding up a mug or something, and saying like, "This cup is already broken. Yeah, because I know it's broken, I can enjoy it now. Yeah, this cup is already broken. I know its nature. Its nature is to break." And because I know it's broken, my heart won't break when it does. Yeah. And the corollary uh, of that this cup is already broken. The corollary, there are many corollaries of that, but that includes that this cup is already broken. Already dead. Yeah. This land is already gone. All is already lost. And that doesn't flatten the heart. Yeah. But actually mm, uh, can create some sense of rest, because we're not gaming out samsara anymore. We know how this story ends, and there's a certain measure of peace. We pre-grieve the inevitable losses of being human, and then we can rest more deeply. And also love more deeply. So offer this for your consideration. We'll have another optional meeting this evening on Zoom. It's at 7 o'clock tonight, Pacific time, and the link is just on that website. Yeah, MatthewBrentsilver.org. Chatted it in. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. Yeah. Yeah. I wish you all a good day. And if you like, come on by this evening, Pacific time. And we'll sit a little bit and check in, see how your day was, and yeah, can try to answer any questions. So, okay, thanks so much.